On December 20, 1968, a couple on their first date took a drive for privacy, turning towards Lake Herman in California. Completely unaware of a strange man following them, they stopped near the lake. A strange car pulled up behind them, and the man inside demanded they get out. When they refused, he fired a bullet at their car's rear wheel. Out of fear, the couple immediately ran away from the car, on which the man shot both of them. The boy suffered a direct hit in head, while the girl was hit by 5 bullets in the back. The attacker fled the scene. This heartbreaking incident marked the beginning of the infamous serial killer case. Yes, we're talking about the Zodiac Killer, one of the most feared serial killers of the 20th century. He terrorized San Francisco during the 1960s and 70s with his terrifying attacks. He would boast about his murders in letters to newspapers and police, even sending them puzzles to solve. After a 6-month silence following his first 2 murders, he resurfaced. It was July 4, 1969, American Independence Day. 18-year-old Darlene Ferrin and 16-year-old Michael Medjo went out for fireworks supplies. They noticed a strange car following them, and just to avoid it, they turned into the Blue Rock Springs Park parking lot. But the car followed them in, initially parking parallel, then reversing and leaving. Seeing this, Darlene and Michael took a sigh of happiness, but this happiness was only for a few moments. When that car came again, and this time, the car blocked their way from behind. A person came out with a powerful flashlight in his hand, which he was constantly flashing on the faces of Darlene and Michael. They thought it might be a police officer, but unfortunately, the person shot them both and fled. Darlene died at the scene, while Michael survived with injuries. Moments later, 3 children nearby called the police, and Michael, having seen the attacker's face, helped create a sketch. The most surprising detail came that same night. At 12:40 a.m., the Vallejo Police Department received a call from a stranger calling from a telephone booth, immediately disconnected. This was the Zodiac Killer's first call to the police. Roughly a month later, on August 1, 1969, the Zodiac Killer wrote letters to 3 different newspapers. He confessed to the 1967 Lake Herman and the Independence Day Blue Rock Springs Park murders. To prove his claims, he revealed details only known to the police, such as the type and number of bullets used in the victim's clothing. Along with the letter, the Zodiac Killer sent an encoded message demanding its publication in the newspaper the next day or he would kill again. The encoded message was sent to intelligence agencies for decoding, but sadly, it could not be cracked. The next day, that message was published to the newspaper, and shockingly, a couple belonging to San Francisco cracked this message on the same day. The message was,
"Killing because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all to kill."
He also wrote that he believed in the afterlife and that the people he killed would be his slaves. Following the letters, the killer remained quiet for 2 months. Then on September 27, 1969, college students named Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking at Lake Berryessa when a man approached them wearing a black hood with the Zodiac symbol. He pulled out a gun demanding money and car keys. Brian handed over his meager 75 cents and the keys. The Zodiac Killer returned the keys, then tied them both up at gunpoint. He stabbed them repeatedly, believing them dead. He then wrote a message on their car and fled. In that message, the name of the place, date, time, and name of the weapon were written. A nearby fisherman found the injured couple and rushed them to the hospital. Cecilia succumbed to her wounds, but Brian survived and gave the police a detailed account of the attack. Similar to his previous murders, the Zodiac called the police at 7:40 p.m. that same day, detailing the crime. The police saw a pattern in the Zodiac's behavior, firstly targeting young couples, secondly attacks on weekends or holidays, thirdly striking in low-light conditions, then displaying his crimes as challenges to authorities, committing murders at well-known dating spots, targeting vehicles for attacks, always choosing locations near water. These patterns suggested the Zodiac might be romantically disillusioned or hold a particular hatred for women, considering 2 of the last 3 attacks left the men alive. The Zodiac, however, would break this pattern with his next target. Just 2 weeks later, on October 11, 1969, he shot and killed cab driver named Paul Steen at 9:30 p.m. Witnesses on the second floor of a nearby building saw the entire attack and immediately called the police, mistakenly identifying the perpetrator as a black man, while the Zodiac was actually white. Apparently, this mistake helped Zodiac to escape from the clutches of the police, but the police found Zodiac's fingerprints in Paul Steen's car. And after a few days, Zodiac again wrote letters to the newspapers and revealed the entire story of Paul Steen's murder. He told the story exactly and also sent a piece of Paul Steen's shirt for proof. And this time, he threatened to attack a school bus. This threat created a wave of fear throughout the area, and the police searched extensively for the next several weeks. They patrolled school buses, but there was never an attack on one. However, with the help of children who had seen the Zodiac, a new, more detailed sketch was made and distributed to all taxi drivers. Just 10 days after killing the cab driver, on October 22, 1969, the Zodiac called the Oakland Police Department. He requested to speak with Melvin Bailey, a prominent attorney, on a talk show on Channel 7. The show had started early that day. The police arranged the call, but Zodiac disconnected without saying anything. He then called again, this time for a longer duration. During his call, he named himself as Sam. Throughout the show, he made 35 calls, only 12 of which were aired. The lawyer asked him questions to which Sam gave rambling answers. Later, it was discovered that Zodiac had not made the call at all. People who had heard the Zodiac's real voice confirmed it was not him. Investigation revealed that a mental patient at Napa State Hospital had made the call. A few weeks after the TV show drama, 2 new letters arrived for the newspapers from the Zodiac. One contained an encoded cipher that he demanded they republish. While the previous cipher had been cracked in a single day, this one was far more difficult. It took a staggering 50 years to decode the message. In 2020, 3 code breakers finally cracked the cipher with the help of computer software. The cipher revealed nothing about the Zodiac himself or any important clues, but it did specifically state that the caller on the talk show was not him. However, the police did glean a clue from the letter accompanying the cipher that he sent to the newspaper editor. This time, he threatened the police, claiming to have built a bomb in his house's basement. This was the only useful piece of information in the lengthy letter. If he was truthful, it meant the Zodiac did not live in an apartment, but in a house, possibly with a basement, because basements were not very common in the Bay Area at that time. Therefore, the conclusion was that the Zodiac did not reside in the Bay Area. 5 months later, on March 22, 1970, the Zodiac attempted to kidnap a woman named Kathleen Johns on Highway 132. Fortunately, she escaped. When the police showed Kathleen the sketch of the Zodiac, she recognized him immediately. For the next 4 years, the Zodiac continued to send numerous letters and ciphers. Some detailed his murders, while others contained movie reviews. In one letter, he even provided the location of a bomb, but the police found nothing at the site and no explosion occurred. The immense fear the Zodiac Killer instilled across America, coupled with the significant attention he received, led to many false confessions. People created attention and pretended to be the Zodiac, making it even harder for the police to track down the real killer. Initially, the police suspected a man named Arthur Lee Allen. There was some evidence against him. He had a military background, and a watch was found in his possession with the Zodiac symbol and logo etched on it. However, neither Arthur's handwriting nor fingerprints matched the Zodiac's. He'd remained in police custody for several years before his death in 1992. The second suspect was a man named Richard Gatkowski, whose appearance resembled the Zodiac's. However, like Allen, his handwriting and fingerprints did not match. In total, the police investigated 50 people as suspects. None of them perfectly matched the Zodiac's profile. This case garnered immense fame, but the real identity of the Zodiac Killer and his motives still remains a biggest mystery. That's all from my side, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then please do like and share the video.